A value proposition is one of the most fundamental concepts in digital marketing. Before launching any campaign, creating a website, or running a paid advertisement, every digital marketing professional must be able to clearly define and articulate what makes a product or service worth choosing over the competition. Without a strong value proposition, all the tools, channels, and automation strategies you will learn throughout this course lose their effectiveness. This lesson will teach you what a value proposition is, how it is structured, and how to apply it concretely in a digital marketing context. What is a value proposition? A value proposition is a clear, concise statement that explains how a product or service solves a customer's problem, delivers specific benefits, and why a customer should choose it over competing alternatives. It is not a slogan, not a tagline, and not a mission statement. It is a direct answer to the question every potential customer asks: why should I choose you? A value proposition must be immediately understandable. If a visitor lands on a web page and cannot figure out within a few seconds what the product does and why it matters to them, the value proposition has failed. In digital marketing, this is critical because online attention spans are short and competition is fierce. Studies in web user behavior consistently show that visitors decide within the first few seconds whether to stay on a page or leave. A strong value proposition is the difference between a bounce and a conversion. It is also important to distinguish between a value proposition and a positioning statement. A positioning statement is an internal document used by a company to guide strategy. A value proposition is customer-facing and designed to resonate directly with the target audience's needs, desires, and pain points. The 4 core components of a value proposition. A well-structured value proposition is built from 4 essential components. Each one serves a specific purpose, and together they form a complete and compelling message. 1. The headline. The headline is the first and most visible element. It captures the main benefit delivered by the product or service in a single sentence or short phrase. It must be bold, clear, and immediately relevant to the target customer. For example, a project management software company might use a headline such as, "Manage your team's work in one place." This sentence tells the visitor exactly what the product does and what benefit it delivers, without any ambiguity. 2. The subheadline or supporting paragraph. This element comes directly after the headline and expands on it. It provides a brief explanation of what the product or service does, who it is for, and why it is useful. It typically consists of 2 to 3 sentences. Using the same example, the subheadline might read, "Coordinate tasks, track deadlines, and collaborate with your team from any device, without losing a single update." This adds detail and begins to address specific pain points. 3. The bullet points of key benefits. This section lists the 3 to 5 most important benefits the customer will experience. These are not features, they are outcomes. A feature is what the product has. A benefit is what the customer gains. For example, save time by centralizing all your project communications in one tool. Never miss a deadline with automated reminders and visual timelines. Work from anywhere with a fully synchronized mobile and desktop interface. This distinction between features and benefits is crucial in digital marketing. Customers do not buy products, they buy solutions to their problems. Always frame your value proposition around what the customer gains, not what the product technically does. 4. The visual element. Although this is not a written component, a value proposition is almost always accompanied by a visual element, an image, a screenshot, a short video, or an illustration. In digital marketing, this visual reinforces the written message and helps the visitor immediately understand the context and use of the product. A screenshot of the software interface, for instance, makes the benefit tangible and credible. The value proposition canvas. One of the most widely used frameworks to build a value proposition is the Value Proposition Canvas, developed by Alexander Osterwalder. This tool is designed to ensure that a product or service is built and marketed around the real needs of the customer. It consists of 2 sides that must fit together perfectly. The first side is the customer profile. It is divided into 3 areas. Customer jobs. What the customer is trying to accomplish, whether functional, complete a task, social, gain recognition, or emotional, feel secure. Customer pains, the frustrations, obstacles, and risks the customer faces when trying to get the job done. Customer gains, the outcomes and benefits the customer expects, desires, or would be pleasantly surprised by. The second side is the value map. It also has 3 areas. Products and services, the list of offerings the company provides. Pain relievers, how the product or service specifically alleviates the customer's pains. Gain creators, how the product or service produces the outcomes the customer expects or desires. A value proposition achieves fit when the pain relievers and gain creators on the value map directly correspond to the pains and gains in the customer profile. For example, If a small business owner's pain is that they spend too much time managing their social media accounts manually, and a marketing automation tool offers scheduled posting and performance reporting, then there is a strong fit between the pain and the pain reliever. This framework is extremely useful in digital marketing because it forces teams to ground their messaging in real customer insights rather than assumptions. It is also directly applicable to the creation of landing pages, email campaigns, and paid advertising copy. Why the value proposition matters in digital marketing. In digital marketing, the value proposition is the foundation of every customer-facing communication. It informs the copy on your website's homepage, the text in your search engine advertisements, the subject lines of your email campaigns, and the messaging in your social media posts. Every channel you use, whether it is organic search, paid advertising, email, or social media, will perform better when the message is rooted in a clear, well-structured value proposition. Consider the example of a landing page for a digital marketing training course. If the headline simply says "Learn Digital Marketing," it tells the visitor very little. But if it says "Go from complete beginner to operational digital marketer in 12 weeks, with practical projects and personal coaching," it immediately communicates the outcome, the timeline, the method, and the support. This version gives the visitor a concrete reason to stay and learn more. A strong value proposition also helps with targeting. When you know exactly who your customer is and what they need, you can target your advertising more precisely, write more relevant content, and build more effective automation sequences. The value proposition is not just a marketing message, it is a strategic compass. Common mistakes to avoid. Several common mistakes weaken a value proposition and reduce its effectiveness in digital marketing. Being too vague, phrases like high quality, best in class, or innovative solutions say nothing specific and are used by almost every competitor. They do not help the customer understand why your offer is different. Focusing on the company instead of the customer, a value proposition must speak to the customer's world, not celebrate the company's achievements. Confusing features with benefits, listing technical specifications without translating them into customer outcomes fails to connect emotionally or rationally with the audience. Trying to appeal to everyone, a value proposition that tries to speak to all audiences ends up speaking to none. It must be targeted to a specific customer segment. Overcomplicating the language. If the message requires effort to understand, the customer will not make that effort. Clarity is always more important than cleverness. How to test and refine a value proposition. A value proposition is not written once and forgotten. It must be tested, measured, and refined continuously. In digital marketing, this is done through a practice called split testing, also known as A/B testing, where two versions of a message are shown to different portions of the audience to see which one performs better. For example, you might test two different headlines on a landing page. Version A: automate your marketing and save 10 hours per week. Version B: grow your business with smarter marketing automation. By measuring which version generates more clicks, signups, or purchases, you gather real data about which message resonates more strongly with your audience. This iterative process of testing and refinement is fundamental to professional digital marketing practice and connects directly to the skills you will develop throughout this course. Other methods to validate a value proposition include customer interviews, online surveys, analysis of reviews and testimonials, and social listening, monitoring what customers say about a brand or product on social media and forums. Connecting the value proposition to your broader digital strategy. As you progress through this course and begin working with tools such as Trello for campaign management, email marketing platforms, and digital advertising channels, you will see that the value proposition is the central thread connecting all your activities. It defines the message that runs through your campaigns. It guides the content you create. It shapes the experience you design for your users. Understanding how to structure a value proposition is not only a foundational marketing skill, it is also a professional skill. Whether you are working with a client, pitching a project to your manager, or launching your own initiative, being able to clearly articulate who your offer is for, what problem it solves, and why it is better than the alternatives will set you apart as a competent and credible digital marketing professional. To summarize, a value proposition is structured around 4 elements: a compelling headline, a supporting subheadline, a set of clearly stated benefits, and a reinforcing visual. It is built by deeply understanding the customer's jobs, pains, and gains, and by mapping the product or services offerings to those needs. It must be clear, specific, customer-focused, and continuously tested. It is the foundation upon which every digital marketing strategy is built.